I have tried so many times to do a video about how to independently publish a book or self-publish a book, and for some reason, it's hard. I think it's driving myself a little bit mad. So instead, what I'm gonna do is just tell you the story of how I self-published Life on 7 Moons. So my motivation was as kind of like a goodbye letter to grad school. I actually really appreciate the last 2 years, about 2 years, yeah, just sitting in workshops and listening to people talk about writing and learning about writing and learning about storytelling. It's been an unusual experience, and sometimes it's been frustrating, but overall, I'm glad I've done it. So this book is basically 3 short stories, which I crafted during my time at taking my getting my MFA, and the storytelling lessons I've learned. And really, it doesn't feel like a book I can walk up to an agent and say, hey, let's make some money together, because it's just 3 short stories and 30 storytelling tips. So what's my other option? Independently published. So let's talk mistakes, because I make them and you make them, and they're always going to happen. And that's why rule number 1 for self-publishing and life, really, to me, is be kind to yourself, because mistakes are going to happen, but they will not stop you from getting to where you want to get. I made a lot of mistakes formatting this book. I think in part is because I was doing it while I had grad school brain. So in grad school, whenever you submit a story, you have to submit it 12-point font, double space, so that people can read it easily, because, you know, reading can be tough sometimes on the eyes. I formatted my book like that, which is actually a really weird way to format a book, man. Typically, you format a single space, 11 font, looks like this. So this is like the new updated version. And I'm telling you this because if you were one of those fine people who bought the earlier version, I want you to message me, let me know, give me your address, send me a picture so I know you're telling the truth. Although I actually trust all of you. I don't think you're gonna scam me. I'm not that interesting and I don't have any money, so scam away if you really wanna try it. And I will send you a new version of the updated book, because it bothers me that I made that mistake, but mistakes are always gonna happen. There, that's rule number 1 for self-publishing. Rule number 2 is that there really aren't any rules. But if you want to do, for example, a nice cover, what happened with me was I found a website with a bunch of free images, thousands of them. And I ran one image through a filter, and boom, this is what came out. It kind of has that Blade Runner feel that I was kind of going for, because my stories are all set in the future. I think that's very cool. Something else you want to do is go to canva.com. I don't even know what canva.com is. They just have all this stuff. It's cool stuff. So you want to do like book covers or posters or t-shirts. They just have all this cool stuff. So you can do the free version or a paid subscription. They both have lots and lots and lots of resources. For me, it's great because they have like a template where you can like do front and back cover of a book, but also they have a lot of fonts. So I was looking for a very futuristic font. Like really, you can just type in the word futuristic, all these futuristic looking fonts popped up. I like the font of my book, so I'm very happy with Canva. Let's talk Amazon. My experience with Amazon is changing. I've self-published several books over the years, and I've used Amazon as a partner. Now they're more of an obstacle. I don't really want to publish through Amazon. I mean, I'll leave my book up if people have no problem buying from Amazon, that's fine. But I really just want to have a stack of books in my house, and I can sell them from my house and kind of circumvent the behemoth that Amazon is. Amazon takes up about 80% of the indie pub book market. And their dealings are not always pleasant. And I think I'll leave it at that before I fall down a rabbit hole of a rant. So that's what I'm presently attempting. Oh, this is just part of the story. It's not really that it's hard. It's just that I'm a writer, and so I've done some freelance writing, and I'm really just waiting for the magazines I've been writing for to pay me, so that because that's my budget. And so when I get paid, I get the box of books, and then I can start selling out of my house. I'm also going to try to walk it up to bookstores too. That'll be interesting. I never tried that before, but I'm curious to see how that'll work out. So let's talk some nuts and bolts, because it can be really complicated. If you're going to format an ebook, I want you to call your nearest and dearest friends and tell them that you will be needing their support, because it is a mind-boggling, crazy-making experience. The thing is, it's not logical. It's not like, oh, you just upload your story and then you upload as ebook. No, there are bugs. Thousands and thousands and thousands of bugs. It's like walking into your kitchen and seeing cockroaches everywhere. They're just bugs all over your ebook document. It is maddening. So I would suggest you go to smashwords.com. They have this really useful booklet on their website on how to format your ebook. My personal story, I formatted. I was up till 12, 1 in the morning. I submitted to Smashwords. They emailed me like a half hour later, said, you got bugs. I darn near teared up because I had to start all over again. And I couldn't sleep because I really wanted to get this done. So I was up till 3, 4 in the morning until I finally got it done. Do not independently publish books the way I do it. It is crazy making. I don't know why I'm like this, but I just am. So that's the ebook. Paperback is really interesting because that's also complicated too. One of the reasons why this is all complicated for me anyway is because most of these entities really want you to use Microsoft Word. I wouldn't even know how to begin to format a book through a free and accessible platform like Google Docs. But with Word, which I only have because I'm in grad school, it's the standard, but it's complicated. Like you kind of have to have like a deep knowledge of Microsoft Word. So for me, I had to go through half a dozen YouTube videos before I found one that showed me how to do something like page numbers on the outside and also the title of the book on the even pages and the name of the author on the odd pages. Surprisingly enough, that's kind of complicated. Also specifically because you don't want, well, typically if you want to look like a traditional book, you see how there's no page numbers here, no formatting. That's hard. It's actually hard to do that. So if you go to my website, oneminutestorytelling.com, to the resources tab, you will find a link to the YouTube video that showed me how to do this successfully. And she spared me a lot of pain. God bless that woman. So let me see. I have a list here. Mistakes, check. Indie, self-check. Formatting, check. Traditional pub, Amazon, yes, check. Bookstores, check. Okay, so something that's really important, I think, because this speaks to a lot of fears that some people have around independently publishing books. Being independently published does not preclude you from being traditionally published. You can actually live in both worlds simultaneously. And sometimes being independently published will lead to you being traditionally published. In the early 90s, there was this book, Yardie. These 2 black men in London were trying to get this book published. Nobody wanted it, so they gave up. Just kidding. What they did instead was they went to hair salons, they went to local restaurants, they went to clothing stores, and they sold their books there, and they sold a lot of them. They sold so many that a publisher came to them and said, hey, can we publish your book now? Which they did. And it ended up being a movie that Idris Elba ended up directing. And funnily enough, what also happened after that was London bookstores started having black literature sections like they didn't have before because I guess they didn't know that black people like to read. I find that odd and another word. In the early 21st century, a woman in Harlem, she was a Harlem, or is a Harlem historian. She published a book. Harlem loved it. A lot of people loved it. Not only did she have a publisher come to her for an independently published book, she had several. So there had to be an auction, and she ended up getting a few $100,000 for her independently published book. The Martian started off the same way. The guy could not find anybody to publish his book, so he just published it 1 chapter at a time on his blog, built this huge following, traditional publishing, and then Matt Damon is on Mars. So yeah, you can definitely independently publish your book and still have your traditional published dreams. And some people might suggest doing both at the same time. I just read an article, not just, but a few months ago, an article about an author who bought his books back from his publisher, like bought his publishing rights back because he wanted to own his own material, which is a very legitimate reason for going the independently published way. It's just hard to make a lot of money, and it can happen. I don't know how. I'm at a stage in my life where I'm trying to look at selling stuff as its own kind of art, by which I mean finding a way to sell stuff but still feel like a human being and sell enough to, eat and keep my phone on and things like that. So that's just part of my independently published story. So let me just check my list one more time. Any self-mistakes, formatting, self-pub, traditional pub, Amazon, bookstores, Patreon. Okay, so this is a shameless plug. So I'm working on the second book of my trilogy. The first book is still unpublished. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I'm going to probably send it out to agents. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And if it doesn't work out, I'm going to independently publish that book next year. I've already done the formatting and stuff. But while I'm in the process of writing book 2, every day I write and then I do a video, kind of like this one. I release, I don't know, I'll probably release a couple of videos just for free, just so people have them if I find them really interesting. And the rest I'm just going to keep on Patreon. It's just $3 a month. It just kind of helps me, eat and stuff like that, which is cool. So eating, but also the Patreon. The Patreon is pretty cool. I actually like the videos I'm putting up there. But that is just something I wanted to mention. Shout out to @DetroitBabe, because I think that was the person who asked me to do a video on independently publishing books. I hope this was not a waste of your time. I really tried. I'm not kidding. 7 times to do a video, and I just felt like I was listing facts, and I could not finish the video without falling asleep. So I decided to tell the story of how I independently published this and how this story is currently going. I think it's fun. I really appreciate the people who bought it early on. I am very touched. I don't know. I never know what to expect from anybody. Just life is just really interesting. Life's an interesting story. Anyway, that's all I've got. I hope you have a great weekend, great life, great stories to tell, and I will see and talk to you soon. Deuces.